Today on Upfront, prison pushback.
No, no, and no again.
New sites chosen for new youth prisons. Are they likely to go forward despite opposition? Then legal wrangling over Republican lame duck session laws. Democrats win round one in a lawsuit, but Republicans are appealing. Plus, Adrian Peterson talks with the candidates for Wisconsin Supreme Court. And what's being done to address growing problems with water quality in Wisconsin.
Taking on the issues important to Wisconsin. This is Upfront with your host, Adrian Peterson.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Upfront. Adrian Peterson is off this weekend. I'm Matt Smith. A Dane County judge says laws from last year's lame duck legislative session can't be enforced, at least for now. Judge Richard Neese ruled Thursday that the legislature illegally convened its December extraordinary session and issued a temporary injunction against the Republican-passed laws. The new laws were widely viewed as limiting the authority of Democratic Governor Tony Evers and Attorney General Josh Kaul. Within hours, both Evers and Kaul used the moment to act on a major campaign promise, withdrawing Wisconsin from a federal lawsuit seeking to overturn the Affordable Care Act.
We don't view this as a window of opportunity. We think we're right on the issues, and clearly the judge made it very clear that the Constitution counts for something in the state, and we believe at the end of the day, even if it's appealed, it will be the injunction will be in place.
Republican legislative leaders said the judge's ruling creates chaos, and they're appealing and have already asked a court in Wausau to stay the Dane County judge's decision. We'll be talking more about this ruling in just a moment. We're also looking at a decision vital to the future of youth corrections across Wisconsin, where to locate the secure youth detention centers that'll be part of the replacement plan for Lincoln Hills. Governor Evers and Corrections Secretary Kevin Carr recently announced the state will build 2 new secure centers to succeed the troubled Lincoln Hills, which is slated for closure in 2021. One will be in Outagamie County, the other in the city of Milwaukee, but there's already pushback. The renderings show the vision: 2 new state-run facilities for the most serious juvenile offenders. In Milwaukee, here at North Teutonia Avenue and West Mill Road. And the second facility at this property, northwest of Appleton in Hortonia. In Milwaukee, homemade signs now mark the location and emotion. Officials say the facility will be smaller than Lincoln Hills with 32 beds. Across the street from your house,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
Some nearby residents, like Meredith Lang, say the facility is way too close for comfort.
We have had some trouble here. It's not major trouble, but we've had trouble. I just don't think that it should be this close to residential area.
You don't live on the north side of Milwaukee. I do.
A recent public hearing hosted by Milwaukee Common Council President Ashanti Hamilton highlighted the emotion. Department of Corrections Secretary Kevin Carr and Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett heard the frustration, both who do like that location.
Is it a done deal?
Is it a done deal?
Tell the truth.
The site has been selected.
Tell the truth.
Oh, it's a done deal.
DOC officials say more public meetings are planned near both locations, yet underscored the urgency to close Lincoln Hills and move teens to a new facility. We're talking more about the future of youth corrections now with State Representative David Bowen, Democrat from Milwaukee. Good to have you on Upfront.
Thank you so much, Matt. Honored to be on.
Let's first talk about Thursday's ruling. The judge's ruling that the lame duck session laws were unconstitutional, basically, is what he said. Where does all this political back and forth get us?
I think it's important to recognize the fact that Republicans felt they were so sure that they were following the law that they went and did an unlawful process to implement these bills, only because they lost the election, not because it was something that people of Wisconsin actually were calling for, nor were they willing to implement those changes during Scott Walker's tenure. So I think it's important for us to recognize the fact that we are dealing with a legal battle over bills that we know that we don't need right now, that many residents all across our state have priorities on so many other things that they would love our legislature to focus on, especially when it comes to gun violence, especially when it comes to poverty, especially when it comes to people that want access to opportunity, again, right here in the state of Wisconsin.
The judge pointed to something specific, the extraordinary session aspect of this.
Sure.
Lawmakers have been using an extraordinary session since the 70s.
Yeah.
Republicans are now saying this is going to open wide the doors. Is that a concern when you look at other laws passed during extraordinary sessions, whether it's on drunk driving offenses, child predators, you name it, as Republicans pointed out?
Well, I think the important part that we need to focus on is the intentions that Republicans had in this process, and that was to, by any means, to skip the process of going about this the right way and focusing on a newly elected Democratic governor that won the election. And because they were so sore losers, they felt like they needed to implement these laws that residents of Wisconsin were not asking for. And our Governor, Tony Evers, and Attorney General Josh Kaul are very right to move forward, being unhinged from this law that seeks to stop their power and really leading the state of Wisconsin.
To that, I'm curious as a Democrat how far you would like the governor to take this. Besides the Affordable Care Act lawsuit, there are dozens of appointments that now have been vacated that the governor could fill. How far should the administration take this ruling?
Sure. Well, Republicans right now don't plan on playing fair at all. They don't want to follow any rules. And I would hope our Governor, Tony Evers, is very much focused on working for the people of the state of Wisconsin.
Let's talk about Lincoln Hills. You've
Sure.
put a lot of work in this effort to close the facility, open 2 new facilities. Do you approve and do you back the governor's plan, and more specifically now the locations they have come out for these 2 state facilities?
Yeah, and I think this is where we are seeing more synergy, right? As we always see polarization, we're seeing some things actually work together. I think the governor is right to move forward because we are on a timeline right now to close Lincoln Hills, and we need to follow that timeline as much as possible.
Will it be closed by 2021?
That is still the goal, I think, of the governor. He wants some flexibility in that, and I don't think he's wrong for that. And there is sentiment in the legislature to make sure that we are being accommodating of adjusting some things for this process. But the main goal is to ensure that what's best for our kids is what's best for the state of Wisconsin.
There's been pushback on both locations out of Gaming County and in Milwaukee. Some local elected officials, along with residents, saying they were blindsided by this decision. Some even saying they believe this is going to bring more crime to the area. Are these concerns validated and justified?
You know what? I was thankful to hear Secretary Carr of the governor's administration actually show up to that meeting and tell residents that he was sorry that there was not that heads up given first off about this location. It was always on the decision-making table. I think it's important to recognize the fact that residents also need to be given the accurate information. There were a lot of mistruths shared in the room, and I think there's an important process of community building that you cannot go it alone, that you have to bring community members with you as you make these very important decisions, and that they know that you are implementing practices that are not like what they've seen in news releases about what's happened at Lincoln Hills. I think that's a really big concern.
Quickly, any scenario where these 2 sites don't move forward?
I think there is a process that we have to bring residents along with us, right? And leaving them out is the wrong decision to make, and it's important that the governor's administration acknowledge that as well. They are also new to this community building process, so we need to go together on this. And I think there will be some accommodations to make sure that we're educating residents, that we are bringing them along with us and ensuring that they understand that juvenile justice reform in Wisconsin includes creating facilities that actually will not create the same problems that Lincoln Hills had, but that we're moving forward and that we are doing a much better service to our young people to get them back on the right track so that they can be productive members of our community, that they can contribute, get access to the workforce, and be able to live on great lives.
Representative Bowen, thank you for your time on Upfront.
No, thank you.
Our conversation with David Bowen will continue now on our website, where we're talking about his bid for chairman of the state Democratic Party. You'll find that on the Upfront section of WISN.com. Later on Upfront, what to do about water quality problems around Wisconsin, the scope of the problem, and how solutions might be found. But first, the candidates for state Supreme Court sit down with Adrian Pedersen for coffee and conversation. What each say they'll bring to the bench next on Upfront.
Up Front, brought to you by the American Transmission Company.